Hi, I'm Peter, and this is the 9th video in the Microbit Made Easy series from Engineering Wonder. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use the microphone on your microbit. If you don't have a microbit, you can get one from the Engineering Wonder store at store.engineeringwonder.show. If you like this video or learned something from it, be sure to gently hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. All right, let's get into it. Everybody's used a microphone. If you've talked into a phone, you've used a microphone. This is a microphone. A microphone is like a tiny ear for your machine. It can hear all sounds like voices and clapping and music, and it takes those sounds and turns them into electrical signals so your machine can understand and use them. I want to make a project that uses the microphone on our microbit. The microphone is right there, that gold chip right there, and also there's a little hole on this side that accepts the sound and a little light that will turn on every time you're using your microphone so you know it's hearing you. There used to be this product that was sold that you could turn your lights on and off with a clap. Every time you clap, your lights would turn on. If you clap again, your lights would turn off. Maybe they still sell it, I'm not sure, but I want to do the same thing with our microbit. So I want to turn on all the LEDs when I clap, and when I clap again, I want them to shut off. All right, let's start writing our code. Let's head to makecode.microbit.org. Sign in if you're not signed in. Create a new project. We'll call this clap lights and create. We are in our workspace, and a clap is an input. A microphone is accepting information from the outside world, so it's a sensor. It's an input. So let's go into input, and let's see. We used that last time. Let's look for a block. Oh, on loud sound. So let's drag this out, and I'm not sure if we're going to need our start or forever block, so I'll just put them off to the side, but we are going to use this. So a loud sound, if you click here, you can change to a quiet sound. So it'll activate with a soft sound, a quiet sound, or it can activate with a loud sound. So every time we hear a loud sound, like a clap, we want something to happen. We want our lights to turn on. So let's grab our lights here and show LEDs, and we'll just turn them all on like this. Because we're using our microphone in our simulator over here, our virtual microbit, it creates a sound meter, and you can adjust the sound to being quiet, no sound, a little bit of sound, and then let's see when loud sound will turn on. When it reaches about 170. Well, about 170. I'm not exactly sure the exact number. It turns on. That's great. Now, when we clap again, we want it to turn off. So, it doesn't work. I don't know. We have no way of turning the lights off. So every time we clap loud, they turn on, but there's no way of knowing that to hear another clap, we want them to shut off. So we need to figure out the code that will track whether our lights are on or off, and every time it hears a clap, it will do whatever is needed. If they're already on, it will turn them off. If they're off, it will turn them on. The best way to keep track of information that changes is using a variable. So let's go and create a variable here. We'll make a variable. Let's name it light status, because this variable will tell us whether our lights are on or our lights are off. Grab our set light status and put it in the on start block, because when we start up our microbit, we want to know the value of our light status variable. So we want to set it to a known value in the beginning. I want to teach you a new term. It's called a Boolean. A Boolean can either be one of two things. It can either be true or false. True can also be represented as a 1, and false can also be represented as a 0. So let's go into logic, and you will find the Booleans down here, and you'll see true and false. Let's grab out the one of them, it doesn't matter what, and put it in where the 0 is. And let's set our light status to false, because when we turn on the microbit, we don't want the lights to come on. So we want them to be false. We want the light status to be false. And then we can change this variable when we need to. So when the lights come on, we can have it change to true, but not in the on start. We're going to leave this alone. So as soon as we start up our microbit, our light status Boolean will be false. So now we need a way of checking our Boolean status, our variable status. Because we have multiple outcomes, we're going to need logic. We're going to need an if-then statement. So you can grab an if statement and bring it out and put it in the loud sound block. Let's think through the logic. If something is true or false, then do what's in the first block. So if it hears a loud sound and the lights are off already, so if it's false, then we want to turn them on. But we can't just leave that. We need to make sure it's comparing the correct things. So let's go into logic and grab our comparison and put it in our if statement. Let's go into our variables. Light status is equal to, go to our Boolean. Yeah, it's giving us an error here because I'm put a number in there, but this will go away in a second as soon as I take a Boolean and put it in here. See, it goes away because we're using the same type of variable. So if it is false, it will show the LEDs. All right, so let's go through the logic again. It hears a clap, it goes in. If light status is false, meaning the lights are off, and that's how they started, the lights did not turn on to start with, it's going to turn on the LEDs. So let's go over here and see if it works in our simulator. It works. Still doesn't shut them off, but we got them working. We know this part of the code works. We need another if statement. So if we can copy and paste this block here and drag it into our if statement here. But now if it is true, we want, if light status is true, we want to clear screen. We want all of our lights to go off. Let's try the code in the simulator. So let's see. They turn on. They turn on. It is not working every time it hears a sound. And I think I know why. I never change the variable to true after I turn on the lights. If we remember what the variable is for, it's to track the light status. Every time the lights go on, we need to change the value of the variable to true. Every time the lights go off, we need to change the value of the variable to false. That way the variable will represent if the lights are on, true, or off, false. So let's go into our variables and set light status. And we'll put that after we turn on the LEDs, and we're going to need a Boolean. We'll put that here, and because we're turning them on, we're turning it to true. Now after we turn it off, we're going to have to set it to false. We'll go back into logic, grab our fault. No, we don't need you. Error code. Grab our false, put it in there. Let's go through the logic real quick and then we'll test it out. We start up our microbit and it sets our variable to false. Okay, it's waiting. It hears a clap, a loud sound, and it goes into this block. Then it checks if light status is equal to false, then show LEDs. Because we set it to false when we turned it on, it will be false the first time we clap. And it's going to turn on all the LEDs, and then it's going to set light status to true because the lights are on. And then it's going to bump out of this block. And then it's going to wait. And then it hears a loud sound again. And it goes into this block. Then if light status is equal to false, then it's going to turn it on. But we already turned it to true, so it's not going to do this. So then it's going to check the next if statement. If light status is equal to true, it is true because we turned it on after we turned the lights on in our first clap. It's going to go into here and clear screen. And because the lights are off, we need to set the light status to false. So it'll be false. Then it'll bump back out. And then it'll be waiting. Next time we clap, it'll go in here. If light status is equal to false, which it is false because we already changed it after we cleared the screen, it'll turn on all the LEDs and set light status to true, bump out, and wait for another clap. Let's see if it works on our simulator. turns on. Then we have to simulate another clap. Turns off. Clap. On. Off. I think it's working. Let's test it out on our microbit. Plug your microbit into your computer and download your code and drag it over to your microbit. There it is, clap lights, drag it over to microbit. After it's done loading, you can test it out. I'm going to use a snap because I only have one hand. I can barely snap loud enough. Oh, it works better behind it. And it is working. Oh. You can also do it with your voice. If you if you're too loud, it'll turn on or off. On. On. Off. On. Off. This is too much fun. So now you know how to use the microphone with your microbit. In the next video, I'm going to teach you how to use your input-output pins, or I/O pins for short. You see those numbered pins here and all the little pins in between them? Those are your input-output pins, and they're important because you can use components or sensors that aren't built into your microbit, but you have to connect them using your input-output pins. I'll see you in the next video.